Yo. Yo. Chill.
什么？
Wake up, my man. You forgot we got this interview with Mr. Allen today.
是今天吗？
Yes, sir. It's our first interview, dude. You ready?
不是真的。我们可以再等30分钟吗？
Nah, man. You gotta get up, bro. I'll give you like 5 minutes. All right?
离开。
All right, guy. All right, my boy. You ready?
当然。
All right, let's do it. You driving or you want me to drive?
我会开车。
All right. We'll take the van. Think we're gonna be able to fit in this guy?
请问我们可以离开吗？
Let's go. All right, we are here with Mr. Allen, and of course we're talking about desert roses. As you see here, it's definitely not the little succulents, the little cactus that I was thinking about initially. But yeah, man, what do you guys think? So what's the as far as the price? Like you said, they used to be cheap.
Okay, they used to be cheap. Now, that one there, in that pot, would probably somebody would be willing to pay about almost $1,000 for it because of the maturity of the plant. They don't get super big, and they kind of slow growing.
So how old is this plant right here?
This plant there is about 15 years old. And the beauty of the plant is not so much the roses, but the bottom of the plant itself.
Okay, so I was watching some videos, prepping for this interview, and that's what they were saying. The bigger the trunk,
Yeah.
and a lot of the videos actually focus on
But
the trunk size.
But the most beautiful one out here, if you have an imagination, is basically the gray one right there. Focus in on the trunk and look how the trunk is designed and how it's wrapping around. And then you got all of a sudden at the top, I look at it something like as a woman at times. The bottom all wrapped up, and then you got that top with those dark red roses on the top of it.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous plant.
So I buy the pots. The pots are purchased depending on what the plant looks like and how long would the plant last in the pot.
So how often would you say you repot these?
I try to repot them maybe every 3 to 5 years. This here pot here is like a forever pot. This was a 350 pot, but about a half of the bottom of the pot is no soil in it.
Okay, so that was going to be one of my key questions. The channel, the channel basically focused on basic plant care and the cost of it. I try to find the most inexpensive ways to grow a lot of these plants that people are interested in. So,
okay, Now, I grow these, and then I also deal with the dumb canes that are there. The key ingredient to all plants, what people don't really talk about, is drainage and water. You got to understand drainage and you got to understand water. It's a 55-gallon water bucket over there that we catch recycled rainwater. None of the plants get house water.
Okay, I was going to ask you that.
Because if you don't drink house water, why you want to get your plants something that you don't drink? The key to the tap water is this. If you're going to use tap water, put the tap water in something and leave it out and give it a chance for all the man-made chemicals in it to die out of the water. But rainwater is better than any kind of water because it comes from where?
Yep.
The sky. All right. I do a lot of travel. This is actually pine bark.
Okay.
I buy this every year when I go to Jazz Festival in Panama City Beach.
Okay.
I pass by a little place and I dip in Alabama, and I pick this up, or I get them to get it ready for me, and I pick this up, and this is good to add to the soil that would allow drainage. Everything on these are all based on drainage.
Okay.
There's drainage.
You can see it's real loose.
Well, we had a down, and then we had a downpour today. So you see that the soil is basically loose. That's because it's not heavily topsoil that most people try to plant plants in as topsoil.
Absolutely.
But the problem with topsoil holds too much water.
And I learned that the hard way with a lot of my cactuses.
Right.
A lot of my cactus mixture was topsoil heavy.
Heavy.
And as it rained and constantly rains, it holds and it started to develop root rot, and I started to lose a lot of my cacti.
The pot here was one of my oldest plants. It suffered root rot. So I am trying to get it to go by just taking it and putting it in the soil and letting it suck up. And as you see on a couple of them, I got new shoots. That's meaning that this is still alive because it's sucking water and you got new shoots. Right. These are struggling. So what I do is just leave it and let it take its course. Now these are a little bit different. These are trying to catch because you can look at the plant and it's still the darkest green and you're getting little buds and shoots.
Okay, so you know it's still alive.
Right.
Okay.
So as we go on, what catches, I wrap together and repot in another pot, and then what don't, it goes.
Okay.
We go over here. That one there is one of the older plants that I have. This is one when I first started, and you can see it look like it's been battle tested. It doesn't have a root ball on it because it actually suffered root rot at one time.
Okay.
So I was able to go online. It's a lady in Pandacup, Florida named Martha. She specializes in desert roses too. She has a place over there that she sells mostly desert roses. And I learned how to deal with root rot from looking at her. And it's basically taking the plant completely out, cutting all the rot out.
I was about to say, so it doesn't necessarily mean you lost the plant just because it had
root rot. Right. So you cut off all the rot, you leave it out. As long as this is actually hard, it has water. So you cut the root out, and what she actually was using was cinnamon. She would take cinnamon and sprinkle on the cut part and leave it. And after about a day or two, what would really happen, it would get hard. As long as it get hard, you're moving in the right direction. Then when it gets so hard, then you take it and introduce it back into the soil.
Okay.
And then that's the next thing you know have to get with is learning the fertilizer. Now, I use a professional grade fertilizer for the same as my landscaping out front. I get professional grade fertilizer from the guy that did that. And I use all this for this. And the best thing about the fertilizer, it's a time release.
Okay.
So when water hits it, it lets go some of the nutrients. When water don't, it sits there. The only thing about Miracle Grow and all that is like right there, and then it's gone tomorrow.
Yeah, it's leach all out.
Yeah. Because you can look at, when you don't have a grain yet and it doesn't say time release, that means that this is only going to last about maybe 30 days, especially here. So I just fertilized about 2 weeks ago. And what I did was I took a mixture of old eggshells.
Okay.
I took a mixture of old eggshells, and then I took old coffee grounds.
Okay.
And I mixed it with my fertilizer.
Okay.
And I fertilize everybody, and I have enough. I fertilize them about maybe every 30 to 45 days.
Okay.
When we're in the rainy season, I do them once a month, and then during the winter months, I back off on the fertilizer because we usually don't get that much rain. Yeah. Okay. So they survive basically on what comes out of the sky.
Now you said 5-year pots.
Right.
So that means that you're only repotting these every 4 to 5 years.
Yes.
Literally.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's because if you look at the pots, that's a Home Depot pot. That only lasts about a year because what's beginning to happen,
it starts to peel.
These pots.
So you're literally going to look for these specific pots. That's what they're called.
And and not so much as that. It's a place up in Pompano called Artistic Impression where I get the pots from.
Okay.
The pots are pretty expensive, but the thing is, the color and everything is baked on.
Gotcha. And it lasts.
So it lasts.
It lasts.
Only way there's something gonna happen to this pot is if it breaks.
Okay.
But other than that, if you touch it, the pot is kind of warm but not super hot because it's a ceramic pot.
And it allows the soil to dry out.
And it allows the soil to dry out too. Go up to the place that I talked about. And they have a variety of pots and different prices, like the big one. I paid $350. People say, yeah, but I mean, you gotta deal with what you gotta deal with. Yeah. So I wanted it in a forever pot. So I had to pay the price to get a bigger pot.
No, and if you're going for aesthetics, I mean, like myself, I hate a cluttered type look. I like it. I like it to be clean, and I like to be able to walk through it.
I hate cheap.
That too.
What you see me doing now, I'm pulling the deads off, and I'm forcing this to reset itself, to give me new leaves in the next cycle when we go through the blooming, to give me a little bit more blooms a little bit faster than most people. I have about 25 to 30, and everybody is in bloom. You got the whites, you got the pink and white, and then you got the whites, the reds, the pinks. Now this one here is unique because this was grafted.
Okay, so I've seen videos on the grafting. You grafted this yourself?
Yeah. So what happened is, the one side, which you don't see any buds, was originally pink. Then we took the whites, and you see right here where it looked like it's infused, and this is where the whites come from. But now the pink done fell off.
I was just about to ask you, so at any given time, you have two colors on one
This side here would be pink. This side here would be white. The pinks done fell off. And this is the only plant out of all of them that are basically grafted.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so I see you have plants growing.
Oh, these here are a lovely nuisance. They are called alligator plants. And what happened was I ordered one of these, and in it they sent me one of these alligator plants. But I didn't read up on it. They are a nuisance because once you get them,
they are
everywhere. And it doesn't take the little flowers on the tip? You don't need but one of them to fall in the dirt, and then they're everywhere.
So for those who really try to get into desert roses, it's a slow growing plant, so don't look for it to grow really fast over time. It's more of a hobby instead of something to look,
instead of decoration in the house instantly.
Gotcha. I'm definitely going to get me one. Now that I see this, when he
But it
showed
won't
me
be one of mine.
Man, I was hoping I might get elected. I saw some people refer to these as like some sort of bonsai. Is that?
They're somewhat in the family because bonsai grows the same way.
Okay.
Less water. You could, you see the wire? You could use the wire to train bonsai. The same thing with here, and it's almost the same philosophy. But the only thing, these here blooms the color rose.
Gotcha.
And that's what separates these from the bonsai. Almost same idea, certain type of soil, less soil, but you have the flowers.
Okay.
And this blooms about 3 to 4 times a year, so it's 12 months. These blooms here, been here about a month now.
Nice. And that's what I was worried about. I was going to try to get over here last week.
No, they last for a minute.
Okay.
And because you'll come out one day and you'll see one bug. It doesn't give you warning like this is happening. And then you'll come back a day or two later and then you'll be like, damn. And then the whole plant. The whole plant. The whole plant. Yeah.
This is nice.
So you could get them at Home Depot. If you ever go out in Davies or some of them nurseries that they have out there, ask them about the desert rose because that's when I found out that they wasn't cheap because they had one day and the guy told me it was $145 and I'm saying for what? He said just the plant. I say, well damn, I got something bigger than that. I mean, y'all want to sell them for me? But I was just kidding. I wouldn't. I wouldn't sell mine at all, especially none of these.
No, you've put a lot of time into it, so it's definitely not to be sold.
Yeah, and this is like the focal point at night, or if we have a function.
Absolutely.
We have lights in here that actually lights this up.
I can imagine. Like I say, when he showed me the first picture when it was blooming and he did the video, I immediately said, I'm coming over here.
Yeah, I've been at these for quite some time.
Yeah, man. So I definitely got to get one for my patio. I have a patio, my apartment patio. It's probably about.
Which way does the sun?
From it's on the coast, so it's goes east to west. So about
where's
4.5.
Where's your front door facing? North or west?
So downstairs, my patio is upstairs. So my main window is facing east, but facing east. So I get about 4.5 to 5.5 hours of sunlight.
Direct sunlight
on my body. So is that enough?
That's enough.
Okay.
That's enough.
I definitely want to get one of these. And
I mean, because what would happen? Same thing with herds, the dumb canes.
Okay.
What happens is we just spent them. Okay, so the leaves are that way.
Okay.
But with any plant, it's going to search out
the light.
Mm-hmm. So in about 3 months, everything is going to be leaning this way.
Yep.
So about every 3-4 months, we do a half spin.
Okay. And those the same thing with the rainwater collection.
The same water, they go to the bucket over there. We got a spigot on the front, and it's the same philosophy with this.
Oh, okay.
She's an artist. She paints. So instead of just having a plain bucket, she is any water in it? Yeah. Okay. And that's where the water comes from.
Okay. Nice.
We put the double screen on top to keep mosquito larvae and everything out of it. And this is basically where we collect all our water. Yeah, we got the gutter to make sure that the water comes off the roof, goes right into here.
Perfect. Nice. This is what it's all about, man. I love your setup.
So
I love
yeah,
these
and everybody,
things.
unfortunately, yeah, everybody else seeing most people be like, Alan, how do you get these that big? Because you don't see the trunk. Yeah, in the store that big.
No, you
But
don't.
because this was originally happened. Sorry about the weeds.
Nah, man, it's okay.
But that's where they come from. Out of the ground and not out of the pot. So I grow them here
And transplant them.
and then transplant them. Because this is in the ground,
Yeah.
the roots and everything is not restricted to allow it to get big.
God, this thing is huge.
So you can't see what yeah, you can see it. Now, you see across the top, across the gate over there.
Okay.
You see them blowing. They originally were from here. So I gave them to him, my neighbor, and they were all cuttings.
And they grew that fast?
And they grew that fast.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah. And these are one of the most simplest things to grow.
Huge.
To grow.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what is this called again?
These are what they call dumb canes, but it has another scientific name.
Okay.
That the missus know, and I don't know how.
No, that's fine. The dumb cane.
But if you go in,
sounds like a part two.
Okay. Sure.
if you go in Home Depot, funeral homes, people give these. It's an indoor plant.
Gotcha.
But because because we have enough shade, we could give them either or.
That was going to be one of my questions indoor because pretty much all of my collection is indoor.
Yeah, these are indoor plants.
Okay, perfect.
These were supposed to be indoor plants, but mine's are this big because they are more outdoor. I understand the soil, and I understand the fertilizer.
Yeah.
So you want to give your plants a quality fertilizer. Not talking about Miracle Grow and everything, but it's about what you get.
It's about what you get.
Same thing.
Absolutely.
Your health depends on what you eat.
Absolutely. And I tell a lot of my viewers the same thing. It's up to you what you use. Everybody has their preference, but what works for me is what works for me.
But find you a good quality, time release fertilizer would be good. And that's what we're going to do here. We're going to clip these. This is going to be repotted. This is going to be repotted. This is going to be repotted. So what we actually going to do is cut it. We're going to leave this in this pot. We're going to leave this in that pot because this is what's going to happen with those stalks. This is where this was a stalk and this is a shoot off of the stalk. And most of these plants were all transformed from one or two plants.
And these simply just go back into soil and they just root right
root right back up.
You don't have to sit them in water for no period of time.
Nope. Put them in a moist water. Water these about once a week and stuff. And what I do when I water until water comes out of the bottom.
Absolutely.
When water comes out of the bottom for about 30 seconds to a minute, then I stop the watering, knowing that the soil is completely saturated.
Gotcha.
And these also have a rock bottom.
Okay. So
everything I have, I'm very conscious about draining.
Gotcha.
So everything I plant has a rock bottom. You could go to Home Depot. They sell a bag of medium-sized river rocks for about $2-3.
Yep, I saw those. Okay.
And you just put them in the bottom.
Okay.
And then with these, just make sure, like with all them, I drill holes in the bottom.
Okay. Man, absolutely. I thank you, Mr. Allen.
No problem.
Yeah, man, this was dope. This is what it's all about.
See, and then most people look at us and think that, so when people see pictures of this, they look at me and they like, well, man, what you expect? I play golf and I fish. I do the same thing that y'all do, and anybody could do it.
Anybody can do it.
You just have to have the patience and the want to do. So I'm retired. I play golf and I play with these plants to get my day going and to kill time within the day.
That's what's up. Nah, man, this is perfect, man. This is gorgeous, man. You got an absolutely beautiful backyard, man. Nice setup. I'm speechless.
See you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Allen.
No problem.
Man, I
It's been a
appreciate you.
pleasure. See you, Chibi.
谢谢艾伦先生。而已，这里很热，我想回家。请喜欢并订阅这个频道。再见。